The world becomes blurry as your attention funnels into a visual tunnel, your eyes locked onto those of a hulking brute pumped up on steroids, staring at you as if he could read your every thought.
Who's that handsome devil?
His gaze is a black abyss, ready to swallow you whole. Why is he staring at you? What does he want from you? Has he mistaken you for someone he knows? Or is he lost in a delirious and profoundly deep inner reflection?
What is all of this? What the am I looking at?
But you don't look away. No, this isn't how it will end. You won't surrender the right to look straight ahead to some brazen random guy again. No way. This time it's war. You accept the challenge, forcing your eyelids, trembling with paralyzing social anxiety, to stay open. Damn it, you could have looked away. But no, you're still there like a deer in headlights. You asked for this.
Come here, Ma!
While the chaos of life swirls around you, you're about to discover just how deep the rabbit hole goes, in a duel that goes beyond mere eye contact. Who are we? Why can't we communicate effectively? Why do we act in such bizarre ways? But most importantly, what the hell is going through that man's head? There exists a special category of despair, the kind that strikes you while sitting in an airport, with your neighbour's breath reeking of existential defeats as you await yet another flight to some corner of infinite boredom. It's morning, and the cold assaults you like a poisoned arrow. As you wait, ready to launch into a week of vacation and confrontations with your own restlessness and a generous supply of alcohol, you lift your gaze and, with a sense of inevitability worthy of a Greek tragedy, you see him, there on the horizon, a being that seems to have emerged directly from your deepest nightmares, staring at you with a look that offers no escape. His persistence is almost physical, an invasion of your most intimate obsessions. You try to avoid eye contact, but the result is a nervous, involuntary dance, with your head moving as if in the grip of an epileptic seizure, reclined on a chair that seems designed by a sadist to torment humanity, wearing headphones like a sonic barrier against banality. Your eardrums are filled with a song that could easily be considered a crime against common sense. His pupils, black and empty like a cosmic abyss, aim at you as if they were cannons ready to unleash a psychological bombardment. You feel naked, completely exposed before his oppressive presence, and yet, in a move of pure madness, you decide to accept the challenge, locking eyes with your tired and angry gaze. Yes, you wanted this. We will share this moment of palpable embarrassment like two unfortunate castaways, and we will sink together into the circle of eccentrics and the unstable. Come at me, you ugly and unsettling monster of fate. In the playground of our hairy ancestors, the animal kingdom, where one challenges another with stares and clever stratagems, eye contact was never just a casual exchange of glances. No, it holds deep, varied meanings tied to survival and the hierarchy of private property. For instance, in predators like wolves, a direct gaze isn't just a casual glance, it's a formal invitation to the worst date of your life. Are you ready to fight, or are you just trying to intimidate me? In such situations, maintaining eye contact is an act of power, a declaration of dominance and boldness, a poker game with invisible cards. It's the classic, "Step aside, old man, this piece of land is mine now." Ah, the young, the bold unfortunates who throw themselves into the world with the arrogance of those who think they've got it all under control. Life is a video game in which they've already found the cheat codes. They've got God in their pocket, or at least they believe so as they walk proudly with the certainty that they've resolved every existential crisis with 3 motivational videos on YouTube, defiant of danger. Those who look down on you from the heights of their 3-month lifespan, convinced they've unlocked every cryptic secret of this strange sojourn on Earth. Each of their looks carries a clear message. I know everything, you're outdated, I'll leave you the talk, I'll do the conquering. They haven't yet met life. The real one, with its enormous muscles, ready to crush you like a bulldozer tearing down a poorly built house. Even among lemurs, an intense stare can be a means to intimidate or defend territory. A stare that pierces your soul and judges you for all your past actions, even those from when you were 3 years old. There is no redemption, remember. Every sin is visible, and every mistake is catalogued. A kind of cosmic archivists capable of resurrecting from the depths every doubt and regret you thought you'd buried years ago. Do you remember what you said to your grandma Josephine that time in 1910? It doesn't matter that you weren't even born. Your guilt exists regardless. They dig into you like cursed sorcerers conjuring ancient demons buried in your bones, forcing you to relive every embarrassing moment of your existence. They're that old lady from the village who watches the world from her balcony, her gaze as sharp as a needle that doesn't forgive. Nothing escapes her. No poorly placed word or clumsy gesture. And of course, she has nothing better to do than spread nasty rumours with the speed of a war bulletin. Her eyes, burning with boredom and the lack of hobbies, dissect you without mercy. On the other hand, domestic dogs avoid direct eye contact as if it were a threat of nuclear war, a way of saying, "Don't worry, I have no aggressive intentions, I'll just keep asking for food and put a comfortable spot on your couch where my body becomes an extension of your furniture and my survival instincts blend with your decor," having become shadows of their former selves because of that cursed comfort zone they've never left. The same fate befalls those who relax on the couch watching a movie with a beer and a bag of chips, according to some. You need to go skydiving, fool. Live life. However, in their defense, we've also been complicit in this decay. We've shaped them this way, bound them to us in an unwritten pact, a secret co-belligerency against the forces of nature. Even for us humans, the gaze game belongs to behaviours that aren't just biological curiosities, but a reflection of primal instincts that persist in our civilized hearts. When we face a penetrating gaze, we experience a range of ancestral emotions that resonate like out-of-tune war trumpets. The sensation of vulnerability or being observed shakes us to our core, as if the other person were trying to digest our essence and flaunt it in our face. Hey, look, I'm giving you bizarre and unsettling attention. And so, in the end, the world vanishes for a brief moment as we find ourselves on an invisible bridge connecting us to that brute. We manage to perceive each other, only to discover how elusive and incomprehensible this connection is. We have always been alone, floating brains in the dark. Normally, we, alopecic monkeys, get to know each other through a mix of ideas, shared experiences, emotions, and messages, often exchanged on dating platforms that seem designed by a sadist with a passion for relational chaos. We're busy spying on and deciphering the behaviours of our fellow beings like detectives, deluding ourselves that we understand their motivations and can predict their every future move. And yet, despite this, we pretend that our chaos is unique and unrepeatable, while others is just superficiality and stupidity. We make decisions in terrifyingly random ways, often based on events that happened 2 seconds ago, or on mental states as transient as they are senseless. Maybe a fundamental life choice was influenced by some ridiculous coincidence, like the sun deciding to reflect precisely on the coffee cup as a nostalgic song played on the radio, all tied to logic fused with micro-environmental factors and a chain of coincidences so implausible that if we really stopped to think about it, we'd lock ourselves in a windowless room just to escape the awareness of how chaotic our existence is. But here's the twist. We refuse to accept that others are prey to the exact same inner circus. No, others are just like that because they're stupid and incapable of reasoning like we do. And if they make foolish decisions, it's not because they too are overwhelmed by the chaos of events. No, it's because they simply lack brains. Despite our best intentions, we are incapable of fully grasping the complexity of another individual. Yet, it is during that first visual clash, that authentic contact, the endurance test between souls, that we realize our inadequacy in this regard. Without concrete data, we create a caricatured and distorted version of the other, filling the void with a carousel of assumptions and fantasies. In this theatre of the ridiculous, we too end up being two-dimensional shadows in their universe, and the big question arises, how do they see us? Why did they choose us for their piercing gaze? What if, instead of being admired, we're simply the target of a sudden desire for a skin explosion on their part, having spotted a giant pimple on our forehead and trying to remove it with the force of their insistence? Ah, the mystery of first eye contact, that cruel reflection of our anxieties and most irrational fears. But how can we solve this incredible misunderstanding, this macabre dance of misinterpretations and solitude? How can we sneak into the segregated and private worlds of others to see ourselves in the third person? Enter the miraculous human instrumentality project brought to you by the great and speedy Seal. In Neon Genesis Evangelion, the desperate human desire for total connection drives our intrepid Shinji Ikari to confront the fear of getting close to others and exposing himself to emotional wounds. Alongside him, Rei Ayanami and Asuka Langley Soryu face their personal battles of communication and connection, showing us how the desire for total fusion often clashes with the harsh reality of separation and incommunicability. And here's the solution from Seal's geniuses. Unite our essences in a hot, orange broth of entrails. Think in unison like a giant carrot soup. Seems a bit much. What's that, Shinji? You don't want to lose your individuality and fiery proactivity? Oh, would you like to subscribe to this channel though? Please subscribe, it's tough out here. Well, I get it. Fusion isn't exactly the most appetizing solution. So, if total fusion isn't for us, all that remains is to accept our disjointed fate. We're born into a world steeped in the desires and thoughts of the adults who populate it, and we navigate through stories passed down and ancient teachings about events we've never experienced. We grow up trying to make sense of life, destiny, love, hatred, passion, fear, reason, madness, the earth, and the universe with our tired and battered brains. We end up building distorted representations, holograms that attempt to replicate what might be but never was. Uncertain about who we are and what surrounds us, we wonder how others see us, if anyone in the world truly loves us, if other people really exist, or if they're merely bit players in a simulation revolving around us. We work all year for a few days of rest loaded with expectations and social pressures. We go to the airport, sit waiting for our flight, and find ourselves having a furious and sudden confrontation with the fragile understanding we have of the cosmos and what the heck we're doing alive on this planet. The pressure rises. Your gazes have created a space between spaces, an ethereal zone where everything can be questioned. Those black pupils, evolved over billions of years of selection, optical lenses of an inaccessible computer made of rocks and wrapped in electric flesh, a processor grinding infinite data, a cataloger of events, a fragment of the universe resisting its natural decline into chaos, an ugly brute who won't stop staring at you. You're about to shout something at him when, in the midst of this introspection, a voice cuts through the silence. A departing plane forces your rival to disengage his gaze and prepare to board the flying tin can. Victorious, you sink into your seat, basking in your fleeting glory, embarrassed by the thought that someone might have seen you. Rose petals fall at your feet, and the crown of the bewildered madman rests upon your head. You close your eyes, reflecting on how we live, immersed in a deeply personal hallucination from which we cannot escape, colliding and floating with those of our fellow beings. Before you, the essence of the uncut gem appears, within reach but irreparably distant, concealed beneath a veil of raw and relentless stone. The splendor of reality, as naked as it was conceived, remains elusive and unattainable.